Good evening, Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude here with the forecast for this week coming. Looks like Monday's one of those main event kind of storm days where it's going to kick off big in a lot of places. We've been building towards this for days. It's been getting more and more storms every day, getting wider, getting bigger, getting stronger. Well, Monday looks to be one of those main event days, but it's not the end of a pattern. That's the thing. It does settle down a little bit. We're going to have less lightning until maybe Friday and the days that follow, but that southeastern corner of BC is going to keep getting more lightning down there, and fires are up to 420 in the province right now. I mean, more lightning's coming. This is bad news. There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now. Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later.
Keep on going to the water.
They dry mopping this. This forecast is brought to you by butterflycommunications.ca. This is Tim Conrad right here, and he's got podcasts there, butterflycommunications.ca. Go check it out. Thank you for sponsoring us. Tim, he's a great communicator, and he's got a lot of experience in disaster management, emergency situations, and things like that. So make sure you check out his podcast. So here's the thing, Monday is looking like a pretty big day, and we see that high risk, again, high risk for some of those same areas where it's been every day happening. We've seen some real severe thunderstorms that have really kicked off Boston. Bar the other night had a fantastic show, and it was up that Highway 5 area as well. So we're seeing that again today. Princeton, Merritt, same sort of areas. So that's areas to watch. But again, we've had thunderstorms in Nelson as well today, although it was a bit of a break for the Kootenays. Nonetheless, looks like that break is not going to last very long. So we are looking at, in the A category there, 80 gusts of wind, 15 to 20. But we're looking in B for, I think these storms will be more serious. There's a higher potential for severe storms in this area maybe, but there's a higher potential for the storms to be more damaging and have bigger hail and things like that, I think, in this B area, while the rest of the sort of C surrounding, and even up again in, this is August, and it's thunderstorming in the Yukon territories and beyond. So we look at our 500 millibar, the upper level winds and what's coming, where's our weather coming from, and you see the next little while, the heat's still kind of able to come into BC, but as we get in towards the weekend, we start seeing a low develop that's going to possibly, I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but it looks like we're going to come into a larger thunderstorm pattern when that happens again, and then that should change the pattern for a while and maybe bring us out of that storms once and for all. So we're looking at least at like 10 days still of instability and heat in the BC interior in these pop-up storms. And in some cases, as we get into towards Friday, maybe the weekend, some stronger, more widespread storms. But again, that southeast area seems to be the target. And it's really no secret anymore that this instability here, we're looking at Cape and so the inhibition, convective inhibition, and we see up and down the Rockies really is where that's been mostly taking place in North America, up that main Cordillera, that main stretch of mountains, United States, even down through in Mexico. When we talk about convective inhibition, we simply mean, how easy is it for the clouds to start taking off and producing convective behavior, to go from cumulus to towering cumulus. So here's just some GFS modeling looking at convective inhibition into Monday, and you really see that southern BC looking, and up and down the Rockies too. Alberta's going to get some pretty good thunderstorms out of this. Southern Saskatchewan maybe as well, looking in Ontario as well. But you see BC is the convective inhibition king right now, and that starts to break on Monday. But Tuesday it sort of moves into eastern BC, southern BC, less storms along the Rockies. Again, just getting these bubble up storms mostly, but as we get into that weekend, will we see larger thunderstorm outbreak in BC? Some models say yes, ECMWF thinks so, and that convective available potential energy shows up on Monday. Pretty good in BC. Alberta, I think you're going to see some magnificent thunderstorm outbreak coming towards you, right? So whoever gets it's going to get it good in Alberta. We're not really here to forecast for them too much, but as you see, there is that convective available potential energy up and down in BC through the week, and we see this sort of low that we've had developing in BC the last few days as it moves across the prairies. It's going to create its own havoc. Storms are just torching off down south right now. That looks epic. And you just see storms bubbling up all over in BC throughout the day, right? And look at those last 12 hours. Look at how those storms just sort of popped up all over individually, lightning all over the province, right? Even in the coast mountains at times. Some of those storms moving into, areas that don't see a lot of thunderstorms. Beautiful. Just watching how it goes. Beautiful. And what we do see when we look out a little further is that everything is kind of moving in towards that southeastern corner of BC especially. And here's what really threw me off today. Down these isobars, look at how these storms are moving out of the north. And you see in my little video, if you look at the video I put up today, we're out trying to chase storms, and they're going the complete opposite direction of what I expected. Everything else down here is going this way, and everything up here is going this way, right? So some real, clashing interests going on between these guys. This guy wants to go north, but this guy wants to go south. Well, what is going to happen? And that colliding will lead to Monday, storm day. Look up and down the Rocky Mountains, coming into that southeastern part of BC, coming into the Tulameen again. I'm sure is going to see more. Up into the Caribou Mountains, out to Nassau, out to Chilcotin, Coast Mountains, even up into the Peace, South Peace. So we got a lot of thunderstorms coming on Monday. And it's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big day. It's going to be widespread. It's going to be more or less what you saw the last number of days, but getting a little bit bigger, a little bit crazier. And we see higher risk of severe storms in that process. But that's not the end of the pattern, right? And we go through the week and we see southern BC still going to see some popcorn storm potential up there, and maybe even up into Williston and up into the Yukon as well. So things calm down a little bit for BC. But that southeastern corner still going to see a little bit of thunderstorm activity every day. Monday being a day of severe, I don't think we're going to see a lot of severe after Monday. Things are going to cool down a little bit too, compared to what we've been having, at least. Thunderstorms into the Caribou when we get into Thursday, more or less, don't look at these maps too precisely, because that's not how things actually work. But then we come into sort of our larger story again on Friday, right? So we're concerned about Montana taking so much, very dry there and a lot of forest, and probably some very strong storms into the Dakotas, but up and down the Rocky Mountains, there doesn't really appear to be a day in the next 10 where somewhere in BC isn't going to be taking some thunderstorms and taking some lightning. So brace yourself for this continuation. And if you're in southeastern BC, things won't be as crazy as they've been through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. But we're going to come back into a time where that low we see at the very beginning of the video, however it develops and wherever it wants to go, it's going to cause all havoc when it finally does. So big pattern change will come at the end of this, most likely, I would think. Temperatures being summertime temperatures, nothing that extreme through this week. But actually, weirdly, the thunderstorms are kind of helping things for fire weather a little bit, right? Well, why would I say that? Maybe they're making some new fires. Yeah, that's happening. True. However, they're also making things a little more humid. The convection in the afternoon means the air is rising. We're not seeing a lot of wind. We're sort of stable that way. And the cloud cover at times is helping to prevent the ground heating that gets fires angry and gets them to come out of the ground and run. But also we've got some rain that's been in some of these storms too, right? So that's helped knock the fires down, just some of those fires down a little bit at least, and cooled off the activity. So when I look at these humidex values through the week, a lot of it's kind of encouraging, actually. The humidity, there's going to be some places where the humidity is a bit lower, sure, but I mean, 38%, we're not looking at crossover fire weather, right? And late in the afternoon, maybe up in the north, we're going to see a bit more of a drying out trend for a few days up there. But all in all, our times of very active fire weather are kind of lower in the south than they have been, for sure. I mean, we went through weeks of things being just through the roof, and then see again like thunderstorm patterns calming that down, knocking that humidity up into higher places, 40s and 50s, and even in the Caribou next weekend. Wow, 82%. Okay, well, we know that's going to be an event when it happens, right? So that's next forecast. So this is one of those weird times where thunderstorms are kind of helping the situation a little bit, at least. Some warm days, some summer days, fire weather still, yeah, but not like we've been seeing kind of the extreme end of it, right? Concern on Monday for wind gusts, maybe up into northern BC and in where that Tweedsmuir fire is. Concern for a little bit of stronger winds there in the afternoon. Up and down those northern coast mountains. Maybe a little bit stronger winds on Tuesday as well. But when I look sort of at the next week, I don't see anything really alarming for wind predictions until we come into that storm pattern on Friday and that low starts to push up into BC, that developing low. So that's going to be the next story, that developing low. Fire conditions are going to be a little down this week, at least. We don't have any extreme heat that we've seen the danger rating higher, at least in the south. Maybe you're going to take some new fire starts, some more lightning, but we're not looking at that extreme fire conditions that maybe we've had at times this summer. Although the north is looking worse and worse. That's the truth. All in all, the south looks to see some improvement to the fire danger down there. We'll be taking a little bit of rain in some of these storms. Some of these storms have helped knock temperature down. It's helped get the humidity up a little bit. That's helpful. We don't have, there are a lot of convection means that the air is rising a lot. We're not seeing a lot of any wind events, things that are kind of stable, at least in this pattern, for the last little while. Yeah, we're taking more fires, but it's, it's been worse. But we're going to take more fires still, and this pattern is going to last for a while. We're not getting out of it. There's going to be a lot more lightning still in the forecast, and Monday looks to be a pretty big day. Sometime Friday through the weekend, we're looking at a new event developing. Going to be a while. Maybe it'll be at least 10 days before we see a day with no lightning in BC. So brace yourself for that. All right. Well, I think that's all I got to say today. Hit like, share, subscribe. Thanks. Tell a friend. Help me keep growing this channel, grow my little empire here. And thanks once again to Butterfly Effect Communications for sponsoring this episode. If you want to join Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers on Facebook, that's the group I run. Look us up if you're in the BC interior. Okay, that's all for now. Bye now.